Looks like they'll go left here. Second and goal. Now Haskins looking. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Oh, the Michigan State game. And I got the Michigan jersey on. I'm a hopeful person. Who I'm about to bring on is as well. But that might be the only Michigan State game we'll see for 2 years as I bring in my man, Dennis Fithian. Fifth, the news out literally less than an hour ago. That, I mean, I guess it's not 100% because nothing is these days, but no Big Ten football in 2020. It's not 100%, but it sure seems like, Dennis, this is what's happening.
Well, it's been a long time coming. It's not like we haven't been talking about it. And I think really, somewhere around June, there were some positive trends. I was thinking that maybe there was a chance, but really since then, like the trajectory's been really bad. So like, it's not a shock. I mean, that's probably good that it's not a shock that we're sitting here, but still, when you do get the news, you have to deal with it. And, it's all right to be bummed, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. College football is my favorite thing out of all sports if I'm ranking them. After that, it's the NFL. And then I start going down the list of basketball and baseball and hockey. But college football is my favorite. So it's not like I'm sitting here saying, oh, you'll be all right and everything else. It blows. It blows for the players. It blows for the coaches. It blows for the fans. It really sucks for the towns and the people that are dependent on a college football season. But we've been bracing for this for a while. I know Harbaugh just a little while ago was like running down the hall with a stay of execution. Wait a second.
Right. Stop it. Let's play. Yeah, it literally, this just came out as we were going live. He urges the Big Ten to hold the football season. And I know there are people weighing in right now as we're live here saying they haven't voted yet. The bottom line is this, Fifth. And I wanted to see how you feel about this because obviously we're both huge Big Ten guys. I've got the Woodson, Michigan jersey on just in hope that this is not going to happen and get canceled. But the MAC canceled. A lot of that was financial, different story. MAC doesn't really have even close to the money or reach the Big Ten does. But they're out. And Connecticut, obviously, is an independent, already canceled their fall football. I know in the state of California, Dennis, the Cal State University system, the largest system in the country, university-wise, this was over a month and a half ago. They decided not to have on-campus classes. And a lot of colleges are saying, if we don't have on-campus learning, we can't have football. We can't have sports. And Division I and Division II and Division III have already canceled all fall sports. The question to you, and you're an expert on this, does it make sense to have Division I football if everyone else in all the other levels is canceling their fall sports?
Well, it depends what state and, what college and what president you're talking about. The SEC all along and the Big 12, they've, whether they got red states or not, they have, declared that this is it. But there's a lot more that goes into it just from, bleeding football, and it means everything to the university. There's a lot of other things that go into it. The bottom line, college football is stuck in the middle with the pros. Those guys get paid. When it comes down to high school, I don't think high school is going to play either. But when you see below high school, there's Little League baseball going on, and for those, your parents can just say, look, I'm going to send my kid out there. You can't do that with college football. The liability has always been there, and even though I know people with the data love to say, look, kids are going to be fine even if they catch it. What's the big deal here? They're more likely to get the thing that's not fine is that they're playing for a university, and even if one of those kids gets sick, that liability, that's going to come back at the university, and that's the thing that's going on here, and it sucks. I think the SEC and the Big 12 will try to hang out. I do try to wait until the final minute. This goes back to last week, though. I'm not really sure why Kevin Warren, even though he was putting out the Big Ten schedule, saying, "Oh, hey, this is a Jenga. This thing's all ready to fall apart." The thing made nonsense. It didn't make any sense. It was nonsense when I saw it, when they didn't have the Big Ten East schedule with the first 6 games, and he had 2 crossover games there, and then he kept talking about we can replace this one, we can replace that, and yet we're starting on Friday and we're going September the 5th. None of that added up, none of it. So what they could have done is built in 3 or 4 weeks right now and push things back, and just looked at 6 games. But this is where the presidents got involved and said, yeah, you know what, you guys, you went ahead and did all your stuff, but this was never happening. This was clumsy. Really?
It wasn't. And Fifth, I think you brought up a lot of really important points there. First off, you mentioned the scheduling. I mean, Michigan State was going to open up in Ann Arbor against not Michigan. Michigan and Ohio State was going to be earlier than normal, not the last game of the year. You mentioned all those replacement dates, and they can flip this and flip that. And to me, it's one of these things where we all know how bad we want this to happen. But you brought up a very important point that I've been harping on for a long time. You've got, I know that a lot of people don't believe they are anymore, but they're student athletes. That's what they're supposed to be. They're amateurs. They're not being paid. If you've got a school, Dr. Schlissel, the president of Michigan, said this, that if there's no on-campus learning in Ann Arbor, there's no fall sports. We can't just have football because people like you and I love it, and it's something to do, and it's a pandemic, and we want to have that excitement on a fall Saturday or Friday night or Thursday night. These are kids. And they're already exploited anyway. You can't exploit them more. So for me, it always did make sense. Obviously, you want it to happen, but you can't just have football to have football, Dennis. And I think that that's kind of where we're at. And listen, I know it's not 100% official yet, but I'd be super surprised, as the news came out an hour ago, that they were going to cancel the Big Ten. And I guess there still could be a vote. But I'd be super surprised, Dennis, if there was Big Ten football in the fall. I really would.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking it's been like this for a long time, except you don't want to say too much because then people are, accuse you of not liking sports or rooting against.
Right, yeah, we're anti-sports.
You're either a homer for them playing the games and, you're not listening to anything else about any virus. We're just playing no matter what. Or, you're leading with your opinion, and then people are saying you're rooting against the sport. That's one of the bizarre narratives over the last month. That I've watched people bickering back and forth about, fandom, the virus or the sport or not. It's like, I don't even know why I mentioned that. I mentioned it because it's out there so much. But it's been bizarre. It's been trending this way, for a very long time. I wish, I go back and now I don't have the date right now, but Reese Davis, I was listening to about a month ago, from College Football Game Day. He was doing an interview. And one of the first questions is, "Hey, Reese, you think we're going to have football?" And he said, "Well, if you'd asked me last week, and this was, around the beginning of August, and actually it was in the middle of July. He said, if you'd have asked me that last week, I would have said 95% that we're going to play. He said, this week has been some setbacks. The trajectory started to go the other way. And so that just shows you where it's gone. I mean, there was some positivity we were looking at, whether you want to say it was, and I'm going to say, I'm not sure it's any of them, but it could be all of them. It could have been a rally in Tulsa. It could have been, kids out at the beaches partying. It could have been protests. It could have been all of those things. People
the motorcycle rally at Sturgis with 300,000 and no masks.
Well, people like just to signal out one of those, depending on, what side they're on. Like
super spreaders.
These problems. Hey, it probably was all of them that contributed to this. Maybe. But people that are outright saying, it's just the United States because we can't listen. I'm not sure that's the case either. We could have done everything right. We might still be in this position. So I know we're looking, we have to assign blame to something. Assigning the blame to the virus is not a very fun, it's not fun, but popular. You can't hate on a virus. You can't attach it to one person or not.
The virus isn't political. It's not, it doesn't take sides. It's not black, white, Hispanic. It's nothing. It's a stupid virus. Let's take a look at a couple comments here. Greg Davis says time to watch the SEC. Jonathan Knight, our good friend, weighing in. Knight here. Where's your comment, Knight? He looks good in his new form of weight loss. I like that.
I like Jonathan Knight.
Yep, he's the Dark Knight. SEC will play, no doubt. They are the smart ones. How about this one, Fifth? From MD52473. Hey, fellas, the Big Ten leadership is really poor right now. Too many folks leaking in front of the media. If no decision has been made, come out and say it. What moron decided to put out a schedule? D's. Oh, that's from Matt Derry. That's the Diesel. So you mentioned Kevin, I'm forgetting his last name, that put out the schedule, right?
Kevin Warren, the Big Ten.
Yeah, Kevin Warren. And then Greg Davis also says, So why can't the Big Ten mix it with the SEC this year? Well, there's the rumors over the weekend, rumors all over the place. And you mentioned the Reese Davis tweet. Or how about Kirk Herbstreit 3 months ago saying no college football? People were like, ooh. But how about the rumors over the weekend of the Big Ten or Ohio State, Michigan, and some other teams joining the Big 12? What if Harbaugh, who we found out is, urging and running down the hall, like you said, Big Ten, play, do whatever you can. What if the Big Ten cancels, he finds a way to maneuver into the Big 12? Is that even a possibility? Is that even legal?
No, none of that's possible happening. But part of this does feel like I'm in some kind of Black Mirror, Twilight Zone episode.
Right.
We've sat around doing shows where, we brought on some caller or something that says like the craziest things. And we're, like, oh, we're getting rid of this guy. I mean,
trade Stafford for Gianni Manziel.
But yeah, all of these, suggestions. When I saw that one, I was like, okay, let's dump that guy. Everybody's talking about it. Hey, join up with the SEC, even though our president just voted against it, according to as Derry said, the leak, this morning. So, yeah, it's all over the place. You know what? There was, if you were going to go ahead and trot out that schedule last week, and hey, here it is. We might not be playing this, but here it is.
Yeah.
Don't talk about building in extra weeks and giving us all this flexibility when you're coming out on Monday then and burning the whole thing down. Like, there's no reason to do that. So they really poor. And Kevin Warren was getting an awful lot of attaboys. A Big Ten commissioner in his first year. Boy, he's doing a hell of a job. Well, then Ohio State goes out and breaks protocol and health and safety. We haven't heard hide or hair from him, but he's got enough time to go. He's got enough time to roll out a schedule that he knows not going to happen. I mean, he's had a really bad week. I'd like to see him reverse field a little bit and get out there and instead of hiding behind in the Zoom with his other other P5 commissioners and everything. Get out here and start telling us some real info instead of picking up the phone and hey, here's the assistant commissioner, Kerry Kenny of the Big Ten. Hey, slide something out to 40. This ain't happening.
Yeah,
get out
there. A couple things there.
Get out there yourself and start showing some leadership. You've had a bad week, the Ohio State stuff. We haven't heard anything from you. The Big Ten schedule was ridiculous to begin with, and now you're sitting out there and everybody knows the story. Like, if I'm working at a place, I like the boss to come tell me and say, hey, you know what? This is what I think of you. This is what's happening. This is what's going on. I don't like other people that I'm working with or I see it on the internet like, hey, they're not really happy. Just let's come out. Let's hear it.
I love it, Fifth. And hopefully this isn't the only time we're going to watch Michigan State for the next couple of years or, a year later. But I will tell you this, Fifth. I'm a positive guy, glass half full guy. And the one positive I can think of, if they cancel Big Ten football, is that Jim Harbaugh will have to wait another year to go 0-6 against Ohio State. So that's something. They won't go 0-6 this year.
Yeah, well, I think the positive to me is that, the NFL is still going to go and they can replace the Saturday. So it's not like we're just sitting around now. People that hate the NFL don't like college football. I know there's some that are out there, but that's not you and me. We both love the NFL. We love college football. So when they come down and you don't have anything to do on a 3:30 on a Saturday, you do. You're going to see those NFL games spread out. Maybe there'll be 3 window. That's what I would do. Make it just like a Sunday. Let's see a 1. Let's see a 4:30. Let's see a Saturday night game. So there's 3 games right there. So Saturday, Sunday, we got Monday coming back on a Thursday. So the NFL could fill that void. And I don't think I'm going to go ahead right now and put the Knicks on spring football after moving everything around, looking at everybody jumping, the calendar, having to play football next year. I think they could play a spring game against somebody else and maybe have 2 spring scrimmages, and you could go ahead and televise those. But I'm going to go ahead and say that they're and I'm not. I love college football. Again, this is making me sound like somebody that doesn't love the game again, but I don't see how they're going to play in the spring either.
Dennis, before we go, speaking of politicizing, this is just out from the president. The student athletes have been working too hard for their season to be canceled. Hashtag we want to play. I think that maybe Trevor Lawrence got involved with Donald Trump, and now the president's weighing in. It doesn't seem promising to me. I hope it happens, but I'll tell you this. You coming on, springing into action means the world to me. You talked about me cashing my more account ticket yesterday. What a run by that 23-year-old kid. What a future, current star, but a future star in the PGA Tour, my friend.
That shot on 16 where he drove the hole within 7 feet. That was pretty awesome. Drove the green, and then was it the hole or two before that when he chipped in? Yeah,
yep,
that was a pretty big deal. So yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome for that kid.
Love you, my friend. I hope this isn't the last. We don't have to wait another year before we see Michigan State play. But either way, it's always a pleasure spending some time with you, my friend. See you soon, buddy.
Take care, Dan.
For the great Dennis Fithian, I'm Dan Leach. It's been a special edition of the Task Force. Big Ten possibly canceling football. Let's hope it doesn't happen. We'll see you next time on the Task Force. Believe in the Dream.